Again, in this tutorial we're going to be looking at lists in a bit more detail, looking at a few other features. The first thing I'm going to do is create another list called Manchester United. So Manchester United equals, again, inside square brackets, and then I'm going to type in strings for 5 players. Rooney, separated by commas. Yeah. Percy. And Di Maria. So just creating a simple list. Print it out and just double check. Now to call out the list, I'm just going to type in the name of the list and it should spit out those names, and you can see that has worked. Now one other thing that we can do within lists, which is very useful, is we can check if an item exists in a certain list. So I can check to find if Rooney is in the Manchester United list, if Mata is in, if De Gea, if Scholes is in, etc. And to do this, all we do is we type in what we actually want to search for, the string, with the quote marks. So I can say Mata in Manchester United. And as long as I've spelled this the same way as I've spelled this when defining the list, that should work. And we obviously know Mata is in the list Manchester United, so we would want this to return. And what this will do, this will return a Boolean value, and you can see that that has worked. Now if I've typed in Mat in, and again Manchester United, it's saying false, because I obviously made a typo here. I've left the second A, so it looks for exactly that string. Similarly, if I search for Scholes in Manchester United, obviously we know it's not there, so we would expect this to return false value. So this is very useful. We can use this whenever we develop programs to search lists and to check if a certain element exists within, or a certain item, string, integer, whatever, exists within a list. Another useful technique we can use with lists is called splitting a string. So let's say we've got a statement, or let's say we've got a football chant, and this is just going to be a string with a few different words. Now this could be a sentence, it could be a paragraph, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It can have lots of different words in it. And then what we're going to do is we can use the split function. What this does is this will split a string which has got spaces separating the different words. It will split that into a list. So what I do now is type in football chant dot split, open and close, and if I run that now, that is going to take that string and it's going to convert that into a list, which is again a useful way of getting a user to input a large chunk of text, and then we convert it into a list, and then we can obviously check to find if something exists within that list. So this could be used potentially to search for a student's answer to an essay style question and see if the keywords have been included or something like that. Another useful technique, as well as lists. So I'm going to create a new team now. I'm going to set that to be Liverpool, and I'm going to set that to be an empty list to start with by just declaring Liverpool equals to open and close the square brackets. Very important, we've got the square brackets. And then again I'm going to create three new lists. The first one's going to be called defenders, is equal to, and I'm just going to type in Skirtle. I'm going to put in 2 for each, just as an example. Let's say we include Skirtle and we include Lovren. Delete that out. Midfielders is equal to, again, it's a list. I'm going to say Gerrard and Coutinho. and yeah, and then I'm going to say strikers is equal to, again, I'm going to say Sturridge and Balotelli. Who's the few to give us an example of how it actually works. So what we can actually do is we can then put lists within lists. So we've got 3 small lists called defenders, midfielders and strikers, and we want these all to be included in the Liverpool actual list, which is we've created now. It exists, but if I just call it, you'll see that it is empty. So Liverpool is empty, defenders spelled midfielders and strikers, not forwards. Okay, so that you can see that they exist. So what we can do now is we can say Liverpool is equal to, and we can just call in defenders spelled correctly, midfielders and strikers. So we can call this information in. So these 3 small lists are going to now populate the Liverpool list with the values held within those. So now if I call in Liverpool spelled correctly, it should return the value. So you can see it's in here, and you can see it's separated into the 3 mini lists. So that's another method we can use to add elements into lists, and it's useful, very useful to understand this idea of having a list within a list and how that works.